George Lazenby said that a female bond just wouldn't work. But also, interestingly, Gavin Williamson, that 11-year-old Defence Secretary, he does look 11, doesn't he? Have you seen him?
Well, he's got a good moisturiser. I want to know what he uses.
Fantastic, we all that. He announced that all combat roles were now open to women, including special forces, and said that for the first time the armed forces will be determined by ability alone and not gender. A ban on women serving in close combat units in the British military was lifted in 2016. That's another step in the right direction. Got some very interesting people here to talk about this. Vix Anderton, intelligence officer in the RAF for 10 years, now a yoga teacher. You got in and then you got out.
Pretty much, yeah. So I do a few things other than teaching yoga. I work with organisations now to promote diversity and inclusion and continue to kind of work with the military on how we can kind of think about gender and women, peace and security more widely.
Can I start? Kate will probably kick me under the desk. I don't have any set opinion on this. Mm-hmm. Is this Gavin Williamson and this government doing something that is long overdue and right? Or is it Gavin Williamson and this government bowing to political correctness and ticking yet another box simply, I believe, to glean more, well, some popularity in a difficult time?
No, I think this is long overdue and completely right. It marks, a transition that's been going on for several years now. As you mentioned, women in ground close combat roles, the ban was lifted at the end of 2016. We've seen women applying to join other elements of ground close combat over the past year. So this just marks the next sort of transition in that. I actually think part of this is the Army is facing a large recruitment issue at the moment. Just this week, the MOD announced that you no longer have to have residency in this country in order to apply to be in the Army. This is around accessing the best talent that we've got available and bringing that to bear in an increasingly complex world.
Thank you. Rusty Firmin, that's correct, isn't it, Rusty? Ex-SAS, author of The Man with No Gloves. You were part of the team that stormed the Iranian embassy to end the 1980 siege. You've been in close combat. You've lost, you've lost colleagues. You've seen it. What's your view of this decision? Are you the same as Vix? Is it long overdue? What?
No, I'm not. I think it's political correctness, and I think it's trying to gain back brownie points. I don't think, unless you've served in the SAS, the commandos, which I have both, people don't understand what actually goes on to get in there. And what happens after you get in and pass, get your green beret, get your beige beret, and then become an SAS soldier. They don't understand. They think they do, and they're very good at talking about it.
You say that. You say, and you're very honest and you're very straight. I'll bring Kate in as well. That you worry that this would allowing this to happen would lower the bar and dilute standards.
Yes, it would, because I agree with what was said there to some degree about recruitment, and I believe that if the women soldiers, female soldiers, are allowed to go to special forces and then after 2 years go to the SAS. If they're going to get in, they're going to have to lower the standards. I can tell you that now.
You've got to answer that. Come on.
Are you saying it's a physical strength thing? Is that what it comes down to? That women don't have the physical strength? Is that your concern?
They're different, mate. They're not made the same as we are.
All right, so
I don't agree. The Army,
what key tests would they fail? As a woman, is that what you're saying? That they couldn't hold a gun because they've got breasts? What are you saying?
No, we're not saying that. It's got nothing to do with holding a gun.
Well,
anybody can hold a gun.
What is it then?
It's physical makeup. When you are actually working in the field, you want to know that the person beside you is capable, or if, let's say I got shot or wounded, that they could pick me up and take me away.
So I'm telling you now, they can't. We've had combat medics on the front line in Afghanistan for several years, and those women have won awards for bravery for pulling out troops under fire.
Yeah, I'm not talking about medics. We're talking about special forces and SAS.
No, I understand.
Medics have been there forever and a day, and they do a tremendous job. They're very good at that, and I quite agree with you.
Well, let's bring somebody else in if we can, Vix. Sorry, Kate, go on.
No. Well, Vicky, what is the answer to the physical strength thing then? Because I know that I am not as strong as a man.
And that's fine,
I couldn't
there'll be a lot of women that won't meet the standards, but the MOD being very clear that the physical employment standards will remain the same.
So women will have to reach the same strength.
Yeah, and the research that's been done over the past year and that continues to be done shows that when you put women through bespoke physical training, conditioning beforehand, they are much more likely to pass those tests.
I think the point is, and I am with you, but I do think the point I made at the beginning, which sort of Rusty touched upon, it's not that it shouldn't have happened, right? It's just we live in a very politically correct society. We were talking just now about white poppies.
I'm
now
sorry,
they're
Jamie, but I don't think gender equality is political correctness.
No, but why now?
Okay, Vicky.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's wrong.
What's the advantage of having women in those positions, and other than a sort of an emotional feeling that it's right, there should be equal opportunity for all? What's the advantage of having women in those positions?
So if you look at the experience of things like the Canadian Armed Forces, who have allowed women in ground close combat since 1989. Operational effectiveness has been enhanced by having women.
In what way?
Group intelligence of organisations, so research in organisations, so group intelligence goes up when you have a diverse workforce. It's about a diversity of perspective. Special forces, all of military engagement now is around problem solving. We live in this really complex world, really challenging times when it comes to the nature of conflict, and having a diversity of perspectives is really important for coming up with innovative solutions to that.
I mean, just what you said, Rusty. I mean, I know you're proud of the SAS, but there's no proof to say that a woman wouldn't enhance that service and wouldn't be able to do as good a job, surely. There isn't.
Well, there is no proof because they've never tried it.
So how can you say that it would dilute the service then?
Because I've worked with them. And
with them? What, women?
With females, yeah, but not in special forces roles.
I can see where this is going, right? I think the sentiment, and I think we have to ask this of you, Vix, I think the sentiment's absolutely correct. But answer that they say that in the field you need to be able to pick up the person next to you if they're shot or injured and put them over your shoulder.
I mean, this is why we have the physical employment standards. If you can meet that standard, those tests are designed to make sure that you can do that under combat conditions. Everything shows from other countries now that when you train, you integrate women into these units, they operate seamlessly, unit cohesion isn't affected.
It's okay. No, carry on.
Carry on. No, please, I've lost my train of thought.
Now, I suppose in every profession we had this debate, haven't we? People said they couldn't be surgeons at one point.
Can I just say...
They said women couldn't be fighter pilots, and that's
something?
been shown to be rubbish.
Why do we keep going in other countries? We've got the best in the world, right? And it's renowned as the best in the world. We need to keep it the best in the world. We don't need to do... I've spoke to Israelis, I've spoke to all the guys that I know, and wives, and none of them think it's a good idea. I don't know... Anybody that can hear this, if they want to call me, they're quite capable of doing that. We've got the best, and we've had the best, and it's recognised as the best. I don't talk about...
But we're only going to stay the best if we continue to maximise the access to talent that we've got.
Look, it's about what you said. First of all, it's disrespectful if they bring the standard down, and the people who've tried in the past when it's really hard.
Fear, that they're going to bring the standards down?
They will.
Whatever they say.
I don't think they will. They've been very clear that they're not going to. And for me, the debate now is, this decision's been made. Like, how do we make this work? How do we make sure that this is successful? And the women, because it will be very, very small numbers, particularly in.
You can't say they're not going to lower the standards. I know what the standards are. You don't.
Let me put something to you, Vix,
what is
right?
the thing in the test that you think women can't do?
It's what you don't... This is what... I'm glad I'm here today because you don't understand that from day one, when you go there and you turn up and you get thrown your kit, okay, you're physically beasted day in and day out for a whole month, ending up with 40-odd milers in a certain amount of time, weapons, equipment, and 50, 60 pounds of kit. I know that they can't do that.
But if they do it, if they pass it, would you be satisfied?
That's hypothetical.
So here's the thing I have to give to you, Vix, right? Because we're trying to... You're right. No. Could a woman do that? Because here's an interesting thing. The US Navy SEAL said in 2016, women can join. Not one person in 2 years, more than 2 years, has passed.
No, they won't.
That's a relevant part of this argument, whether you like that or not. It is.
I completely agree. We're going to be talking about...
Can women do that? It's not being sexist. It's a question.
It's not sexist.
Yes, they can. There are going to be really small numbers that can, and I totally accept that. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be allowing those few women to come through and do that. It enhances operational effectiveness.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but when I said to you why now, you jumped on that. It's not. I'm not talking about gender. I would want, and I'm sure Kate would say the same. I would want the armed forces in this country to be the very best, the proudest and the best. Hear me out, right? And if a woman can do that, or it's all men or all women, not bothered, not in the side. But I absolutely believe in my gut right now we live in a world that is politically correct mad. madness.
I
I don't
agree.
care what anybody says. And I'm simply asking somebody around this table to say, is the timing slightly interesting? Is it political? Is it recruitment? Is it genuinely because we think, not we, the Defence Department, suddenly in 2018 somebody's locked onto the fact that what? Women could bring something to the army.
It hasn't.
It's a vote winner.
It hasn't
It's a
been
vote
sudden.
winner.
You know, there have been systematic reviews over the last 10, 15 years. The last review found
Should
that
have been done before.
Exactly. But, you know, the last review found in 2016 that we should lift the ban. And this is just the next stage as we're seeing women start to go into infantry roles elsewhere in the military. That this is just the next phase of that.
Can a woman pass the test to finish Vix?
Yes.
Rusty?
Could you pass it?
No.
That's
Fine. I don't want to be in the SAS.
Yeah.
You know, that's absolutely fine. There will be really small numbers of women that can
Yep.
do this. But there are women out there who can do this.
And
they
want
should be
to.
should be given the opportunity to.
Fair enough.
No, I disagree.
That's
Do you
why
know
we
what
live
the-
in...
First of all, do you know what the test involves? And if you
But
don't,
I
why
keep
can you
asking
say they
to
pass?
spell it out. What does the test involve?
I haven't got enough time here.
Oh.
It's 6 months, okay? 6 months from start to finish, day in and day out, being beaten up, jungle training.
But if someone does it,
I can tell you now, they won't without lowering the standard.
Oh, right. Okay, your
Okay.
thoughts, please. 0344 419 1000. Thank you, Rusty. Ex-SAS. He says a woman wouldn't be able to pass that test. Vic says, listen, I was in the armed forces for 10 years. I'm sure it wouldn't be huge numbers, but there are women out there who could.